coming up, coronavirus cases are still rising across New York, but Governor Cuomo said hospitalizations are down. We've got the state's plans for reopening and the latest numbers out of Syracuse. And the campus is empty right now, but the university is planning for next semester's reopening. We'll tell you the latest of SU's plans for next semester. And the votes are in. The SU student body has decided who will lead the Student Association next year. Reactions from the candidates and more tonight on the CitrusTV News Update. The results are in. The Student Association elections are officially over. I'm Lilia Wood. Welcome to the CitrusTV Update. The Syracuse University student body has elected Justine Hastings and Ryan Golden as the next president and vice president of the Student Association. SA announced the winners shortly after online polling closed at midnight. In a statement to Citrus TV, Hastings and Golden said they are excited to work with the Student Assembly to generate and implement necessary reform on campus. Julio Burgos will be the next SA comptroller after running unopposed. SA says about 16% of students voted in this year's election, down from 21% last year. SA's Board of Election Chair says this was a, quote, fantastic turnout given the difficulties everyone is facing at this time. Syracuse University says they expect students will be on campus in the fall, but the coronavirus pandemic will impact that semester. Chancellor Syverud said SU is cautiously optimistic that residential instruction will resume in the fall, but the global pandemic means an uncertain future for the university's plans. In an interview with Good Morning America, Chancellor Syverud described how the pandemic could change how the university operates.
We're about delivering high-quality education to our students, and how do you do this in this world that's characterized by both an epidemic and an economic crisis at once? Maybe, depending on the public health guidance, that we need to concentrate the in-person experiences, the performances, to the later in the semester, to October and November.
So SU is currently developing plans for multiple fall opening scenarios to meet CDC, local, and state guidelines. The chancellor also says the university has taken a big financial hit. SU will take bold action to address that financial hit, and no word on what those actions will be. Citrus TV will keep you updated on the university's plans for the fall semester. The Not Again SU movement says their efforts will continue past this academic year. Speaking with Citrus TV this week, organizers said their future actions would focus on making sure the university follows through on their commitments they made.
We're planning, we're strategizing, we're doing all these things to ensure that the university will continue to be held accountable, but also right now keeping in mind with everything that's happening with COVID-19 and being responsible and being realistic.
The organizers Citrus TV spoke with also talked about their hopes for the future of the movement.
I do not have hope in a university that continues to enact violence on marginalized identities and be complicit with that violence on a daily basis. But what I do have hope for are for the student leaders and activists that will come and make this university a more radicalized space and be able to have discourse, conversation, actions that reflect that.
The organizers Citrus TV spoke with said they weren't sure if they would graduate this spring. The National Veterans Resource Center raised its flags for the first time this morning. The NVRC was originally slated to officially open to the public today, but the pandemic put that off. The center will announce a new opening date in the future. And the show will go on at the Syracuse stage, just a little later than expected. In response to COVID-19, the Syracuse stage is postponing its spring shows until the fall. Artistic director Bob Hupp shared in a Syracuse stage newsletter why the theater company has decided to close its curtains for the time being.
At Syracuse Stage, we've been working to reshape our season with an eye on that time when we can safely come together and once again experience the magic of live theater.
The Tony Award-winning musical Once, which would have been running now, will wrap up in the 2019-2020 season in September. Yoga Play, the original season closer, has moved to next season's list of shows. For more information, you can visit SyracuseStage.org. And there are 19 new cases of COVID-19 in Onondaga County, bringing the total to 589. There are currently 271 active cases, and 17% of those people are hospitalized. 22 are in critical condition. County Executive Ryan McMahon says the testing process is becoming faster and more efficient. Next week, a new initiative is starting to test more seniors and employees in assisted living and nursing homes.
It's important because we've had community spread. Our nursing home professionals go home. They have to go out to the grocery store. Some of them may be asymptomatic with this. They may go into a very dense population, and then that may spread. And so we want to be on the front edge of this.
In response to President Trump's reopening plan, McMahon said he's working with neighboring county executives on a Central New York restart plan. The executives want to present their regional strategy to the governor.
The idea being no matter what this is, it's a phased-in approach. It doesn't get to a certain date and we just send everybody out to work. Why? Because if the virus comes back, our health department needs to be in a position to respond in real time.
McMahon said today would have been the Syracuse Mets opening day. Hopefully the team can get back on the field soon. Hospitalizations across New York are slowly declining today. Governor Cuomo said the number of total incubations and 3-day trends for hospitals are climbing down, but total cases remain at a standstill. About 2,000 people are admitted every day. Jake Henderson is a Syracuse University student who works as an EMT in New York City. He tells CitrusTV that he has never seen such a high number of 911 calls before.
With the pandemic, our record call volume in a day was 7,200. To put that in perspective, on a 12-hour tour, I was doing about 18 different jobs, which is a lot, a scary amount actually. And with the way things have been going now, the call volumes have been slowly dropping, but we're still about 1,000 calls above our normal range.
Governor Cuomo announced today that 630 people died in New York in the past 24 hours. He said while the numbers are plateauing, the figures are staggering.
That is still breathtaking in its pain and grief and tragedy, and basically flat again.
As of today, New Yorkers are required to wear a mask in public if social distancing isn't possible. The state is looking at another month of social distancing. Still, New York is looking ahead towards reopening the state, slowly.
It's going to be an incremental process between today and tomorrow.
New York's plans to radically increase their testing capacity in order to trace and isolate COVID-19 cases. The priority is to keep the infection rate at 0.9% while stabilizing state finances. But the New York's infrastructure isn't enough, and private labs need to coordinate with the state. Governor Cuomo is issuing another executive order to manage this.
And I'm going to issue an executive order that says the Department of Health will be coordinating those private sector labs.
Governor Cuomo was frustrated by the federal government's response. He said the Fed has given almost zero serious financial or testing assistance to complete what he describes as a massive undertaking.
We need a coordinated approach between the federal government and the states. The federal government has passed 3 bills to address this crisis. Of those 3 bills, the state governments have gotten precisely 0, zilch, nada in unrestricted aid.
And while the governor is frustrated with the federal government, he says the pandemic is in a historic moment that will change our society.
This has to be one of those moments in time when we look back, where we say society transformed.
The governor says this pandemic will help society redefine and reimagine our workplace, public transit, public health, and our everyday interactions with each other in the future. According to the World Health Organization, more than 2 million cases of COVID-19 have been reported and 135,000 people have died. Health officials in Wuhan, where this outbreak started, are revising the city's COVID-19 death toll. Today, they added 1,290 deaths, which raised the pandemic toll by over a third. Officials say the recount was necessary because deaths at home were not originally accounted for, and there was a delay in getting figures from certain governments. In addition to increasing the testing, the World Health Organization said they're also working on developing and distributing a COVID-19 vaccine. And that's all the time we have for today for the CitrusTV News Update. For more from us, make sure to check out our website and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at CitrusTV News. For all of us here at CitrusTV, I'm Lilia Wood. Have a great weekend, Syracuse.